Thanks for downloading this episode of the Boomer and X Show. If you want to help us out and you listen on iTunes, please subscribe. I found out recently that 30% listening are subscribers. Go and subscribe. You'll automatically show up on your phone and on your computer. All right, thanks.
Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds.
Hey everybody, this is Evan and John, and you're listening to the Boomer and X Show.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us for this brand new installment of the Boomer and X Show. Are we recording?
Yeah. Yes, we are.
Excellent.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while.
A little rusty over here.
We are a little rusty. As we're doing this, it is late on the night of of July 13th, about to become July 14th here in the Central Time Zone. And our last release was June 12th. So it's been over a month. That wasn't intended. We had
we were so busy. A lot of unforeseen things.
Yeah, we did an Independence Day episode.
We actually did record an episode.
We did record
Full
one.
Full-on American hard-on episode.
Wow. Okay. I left town on June 30th, and assuming that said episode was going to go out about then.
Yeah.
And all hell broke loose. What exactly?
Just initially, it was technical stuff where I actually edited the full episode and hit the publish button on the computer, and boom, computer went out, black screen. I think it overheated because I had it in my lap.
Yeah.
And just wouldn't come back on, and so then I went to do it on my phone. The software app that I use to edit needed an update, and so it's sitting there trying to update, and it pauses halfway through, and I can't use that, so I'm just dead in the water. And like I said, had the full episode recorded.
Right.
So I learned some stuff,
and kept in touch a little bit during that, and still you were still working on getting it out the weekend of, like on actually the 4th.
Yeah.
And then I believe
just baby's coming and moving a mother-in-law down from Texas,
right?
Just one thing after another.
So you're about to go to from a household of 2 to a household of 4.
Well, if you count Bo.
Well, 5, right? Your dog. Yeah, from 3 to 5, counting your little 5-pound dog. So yeah, I mean a lot happened, and so as it turned out, then we didn't release a July 4th.
Well, it kind of seems pointless to release it on the 10th or
right.
whatever.
Right. So, however, we did save something.
Well, we kind of broke it up like, all right, July 4th, we really hit Independence, the Declaration of Independence.
The Declaration of Independence.
Some controversies of when the date of really is. Did we hit fireworks safety?
Yeah, I think we talked about
some
celebrations.
Stuff.
Yeah.
I meant fireworks safety, though, didn't we?
No, we didn't talk about fireworks safety, but I have a good one. Do not put a mortar on top of your head and try to launch it.
Yeah, you'll die.
Yeah.
Also, okay, and so in the other half of that episode, we talked about American musicians, and that part we're going to save and put at the other half of this episode.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and put it with this. We talked about the Declaration of Independence. We talked about some of the major players in that, how the whole thing kind of came about, because there were declarations from individual towns and colonies that before the total Declaration of Independence for the whole country. And we talked about things like the Liberty Bell, and then we hit Mount Rushmore, which obviously a very patriotic symbol.
Yeah, we were talking about American monuments, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what we did then was segue that into the Mount Rushmore of American music. And you had a list of
Top four.
Yeah.
And
they got to be American because that was the whole point.
Yep.
No Rolling Stones, no Beatles, no AC/DC, anything like that. And I had a list of 4. So we talked about that. But that's going to air. Because it's music. I mean, music is always a topic. We feel like it's fine to air that, even though we're here, a week and a half or 2 weeks after.
You like came to the discussion with like stats and like, all right, they sold this many records on this year, and I'm just like, I really like this guy. He's my number 3.
I'm prepared.
I know.
I'm prepared.
And I'm like, yeah, I like this group. This is so y'all like that part of the conversation, because obviously John, like he said, he came prepared, and I'm just like, yeah, I'll rock out to these guys every once in a while.
And while I was on my vacation, and I'll talk about that a little bit.
In Michigan.
Yeah, thinking that the episode was going to air any time, I started talking about it with friends and got some...
Who are also listeners.
Yes. And got some interesting feedback and difference of opinions about who should be on said Mount Rushmore of American music. But, I mean, that was the whole point of the conversation. I'm going to have my 4, you're going to have your 4, and everybody that listens is going to have their 4.
Everyone's going to be
point.
like, what? They didn't put Metallica on there?
Right, or or no country,
we didn't really have any
country acts. So.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, so but
we'll save that. We'll save the rest for later.
Yeah. So vacation. I went up, like I said, in previous episode on June 12th, that I hoped I would be able to get to go, and I did. And I flew up on the 30th. I got back on the 8th, and just like always, it was a terrific time with great friends.
The weather. He kept sending me texts. Yeah, so I woke up and the cold front came through and 55 degree with 30 mile an hour wind. I was like, whatever. It's 85% humidity and 100 degrees.
Yeah, it was miserable down here. And the nicer it got, the more I would text you as to how nice and how cool it was up there.
And I was just later in your vacation, I was like, yeah, you'll be back here in a little bit.
Right.
Keep it up.
Yep. Yeah. But, when it was really chilly and breezy and I would walk out to the lighthouse or the beach or anything, people up there were wearing jackets. I thought they were supposed to be used to it.
Well, maybe they're not.
I don't know, but I was soaking it up.
Yeah, soak it all the way to your bones and bring it back.
That's what I was going to do. I wasn't even going to pretend like I had a chill at any moment, even if I did. But it was great. One of the things that was really nice, and this probably isn't a new development, but some of us went canoeing one day, and
that's been around a while.
It has been around a while. What I found so wonderful was the fact that since the last time I went up there, they've upgraded their canoes. Instead of the straight, hard aluminum seat,
or sit on top.
Sit on top, yeah. Right. The seat is more of a plastic or fiberglass, and it's kind of curved, and it sits a little bit lower, so it lowers your center of gravity. So the canoe is not as tippy.
So you still flip, I'm guessing.
No, we didn't flip. Didn't even come close. And it also has seat backs in it.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's nice.
I mean, that was nice. So
that's not for like really getting after it, though. That's for like just going out and sitting in the sun. And...
Yeah, but I mean, you don't have to lean back. I mean, you can sit up straight and canoe hard, which I did a lot. But then sometimes, if you want to just rest a couple of minutes and lean back in your recliner. It was my canoe mate was complaining that there weren't enough cup holders, but she actually had one up front with her, and I didn't have one.
Lap.
But there was one up there. I didn't have. She, by the way, had the luxury of needing a cup holder because she didn't mind taking a break to drink while I canoed my heart out.
Well, were y'all like in a lake or a river?
Lake. We were in what's called Hamlin Lake, and it empties into Lake Michigan. And it is right adjacent to Lake Michigan. There's this small little river stream that connects the two.
So it wasn't very... You weren't having to fight a current or anything?
No current. There was a little bit of wind in some places. It wasn't bad, but there was a little bit of breeze. And coming back in, we kind of had to, canoe into that a little bit. But it was wonderful. You
came back from your vacation, and then days later, I... take you with me to go help my mother-in-law move.
You shanghaied me. Not many days later, by the way.
Exactly.
In fact,
you were still in the different time zone, and I took you over to Texas.
We got in. I got in Wednesday night and worked Thursday evening and Friday evening, and then
very early Saturday morning.
Yes. Well, we headed up there Friday night. No, 2 hours of sleep and loading. What was it? 7.
We filled up 35 by 30. 25 by 30 worth of 3 units full.
Yeah.
Not a drop of airspace in the room. And
Yeah.
filled them up.
Yeah, all the way up to the little
ceiling
like screen, kind of
yeah.
like almost like a chicken wire ceiling on top of these
Yeah.
units. And yeah, that was Saturday, and
I'm still sore from that. That was a lot of stuff.
it was a lot of stuff. I'm glad we got it all done, and I'm glad I'll never have to look at it again.
And then tomorrow we have Katie's 38-week baby checkup. So any day now. We'll
Any
have
day.
A little Evan/Katie running around.
Any day.
Well, little Katie, I guess, because it's a girl.
Well, Gracie.
Yeah.
Right, Gracie Elizabeth, right?
Gracie Elizabeth.
Yes.
Yep.
And so how's Katie doing?
She's just ready to get that thing out.
Yeah. We had hoped to get an update on her, actually have her on the show sometime during the month of June, because we had her on in March, and she was still, very, very busy with her workout routine.
We just had that show, right? That Flip My Food.
Well, you had shot the show.
And that's what she was just talking
about that, but also talking about the fact that she was about to run in a half marathon, which she did. Now, we didn't have her on in June, but now here we are mid-July. It could come at any day now. The baby could come any day. And how she... you said she's ready to be done with...
Just normal late pregnancy stuff, sore lower back.
Now, until a few weeks ago, and I really... Since I've been so busy and out of town, and you've been very, very busy getting the house prepped for the mother-in-law and the baby, I haven't asked you this in a couple of weeks, but how's Katie's workout routine? Because up until a couple of weeks ago, she was staying with it.
I don't know the particulars of it, but I know she's following that... Ashley Horner, who's a fellow competitor of hers, she's still working out. She's still doing a lot more cardio than weights now.
Right.
And I think that's mostly what she's doing. Actually, probably only what she's doing. I don't think she's doing any weightlifting now.
Okay.
And it's mostly like biking and elliptical. No, she's not doing that. Biking and treadmill. I think today she put a post up challenging people to steps.
Okay.
You ever heard of Fitbit? It's like a watch you wear and it tracks
tracks
your steps.
Right.
She's 38 weeks pregnant. She just put a challenge out for everyone on her Facebook page to try and beat her at stepping. So I thought that was
everyone that's a friend of hers on Facebook
can accept the challenge.
We've talked about what's coming up for the quote organized portion of this episode. The actual, we have a topic that we researched. And we did, and that's coming up in a few minutes, as opposed to just our kind of conversation here. But down the road, and keeping in mind that release dates, especially now, coming up with the the pending birth of your child, the fact that some things may happen that delay us, that's very possible.
We just won't be... we won't promise hard dates. We'll just, week of.
Well, even
whatever.
When we did the last one on June 12th, I didn't think we would be recording the next one on July 3rd. But we're going to try. We're hopeful that our next one, and we're hopeful also that it will be within roughly a week. Will be an interview. That's what we're aiming for. And since we don't know for sure, we're not going to give a whole lot away. But we're hopeful that we've got an interview coming up. And that would be somewhere release date right around July 20th, which also just happens to be the anniversary of the anniversary of the moon landing. Which, and by the way, the interview is not an astronaut or anything like that. So we're not quite there just yet. We don't have Neil Armstrong on the show. He may not even still be around.
I think he passed away recently.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, then we can't get him.
No.
And it won't be all that far from August, and we're going to try to do a couple of football previews in August, one for the NFL, one for NCAA. August 29th is the 10-year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina hitting New Orleans. And
is it an anniversary?
Well, I think it's an anniversary, even if it's a bad thing. I think so. Yeah, I think.
I guess you're right, yeah.
So we might talk about that a little bit. I was in New Orleans recently, and I saw some of the things that have come along that are a little bit better than 10 years ago, and a lot of things that
haven't changed
much at all.
It's crazy, the impact. I heard some celebrities came in there and bought some land and some buildings and fixed them up, but it still needs.
It needs a lot.
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it. So without further ado, we will take a brief break, and when we come back, there will be a very entertaining conversation about American music.
Singing something like this. Listen here. Oh,
That was Ray Charles.
Yes, you're right.
Singing America the Beautiful.
That was from his 1972 album called A Message from the People.
That dude knew how to do it.
Oh, my goodness. When you and I decided to do a 4th of July episode and we wanted to talk about some things, one of the things that we decided to talk about was American music, not British music.
And exactly. When we started talking about it, I was like, all right, naming off Led Zeppelin,
right,
and the Beatles, and you were like, no, it's got to be American. But for me, it made it harder, but you kind of convinced me, no, you take those.
Right, you take all those out. And what I wanted was a personal Mount Rushmore of American music.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to go for. And so I came up with my 4. You came up with your 4. And so anyway, that's my first one right there, by the way. Ray Charles.
Yeah.
Ray Charles is if I were to have my own Mount Rushmore of American music, the first image carved in it, the very first, would be Ray Charles.
And these don't have to be single people.
They don't have to be single people.
Let's say, because you're about to blow my list up if you...
No.
Right,
a group would be an image.
Okay.
Right.
And I totally agree. Actually, what got this topic in our minds was me and you debating who should be number 1, really. You were saying Ray Charles.
Right.
And I was saying my number 1 would be Michael Jackson.
Right.
And that kind of turned into...
And then I said, "Hey, you know what?" And of course, and obviously, this is all opinion and taste.
Yeah.
I mean, the only criteria is that they be American, because this is an American show. This is an American episode. I don't mean this is an American show. The Boomer and X show can never talk about anything that's not in America. That's not what I meant. This particular episode is about the 4th of July,
4th of July Independence
and
Day,
that's where we are. By the way, Frank Sinatra called Ray Charles, quote, the only true genius in show business.
Well, it's funny you bring up old Frankie Boy, because he's my number 2.
He's on your... All right, you jumping.
Well, I'm just... you brought him up.
No, well, because he's talking about my guy.
Yeah. So, okay, Michael Jackson, he's my number 1. And that... What?
Hang on.
Michael Jackson.
I know. Just...
You cooling my jets way too much.
No, I'm sorry. But in 2004, Rolling Stone magazine ranked Ray Charles as the number 10 on their list of 100 all-time greatest artists, and in November of 2008, on their 100 all-time greatest singers, they listed Ray Charles as number 2. So
I don't have a list from MJ.
Okay, so anyway, Ray Charles is my number 1, and I just looked up a couple of things to cite, But again, if you're trying to make an argument about something that's factual, you don't take the argument and put the facts around it. But when you're making a choice, you kind of make your choice, and then you maybe find some things that help you justify it. It's sort of reverse if you're just talking about a matter of taste, and that's what we're talking about. Who's your number one?
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. Okay.
Because he's number one.
Number one. Well, he's the king of pop. I mean, that was his nickname. When as far as I'm concerned, just as my personal taste, and this isn't citing any other opinions or so on and so forth, when I hear Ray Charles sing, my emotional state doesn't stay the same. It alters in a very, very positive way. I mean, that's how profound and how powerful hearing Ray Charles is to me. And the fact that he did so much, and he was so versatile, and he was so innovative across so many different platforms, I just find amazing.
I used to have a teacher in junior high, and she was a math teacher, and she always would say, even Ray Charles can see that. Now, if people didn't know, he was blind.
Right.
But I don't know, that was her way of calling you stupid, I guess.
Wow.
She said it all the time.
She was mighty nice.
Oh, she was.
Yeah.
She was so nice that when she accidentally backed up her car off of this 4-foot little drop off, everyone on Facebook was just, no, I can't tell you how many times I saw the comment. Even Ray Charles could see that curve.
Nice. Okay, so I didn't mean to step on Michael Jackson, but MJ.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have a list or anything with his stats, but he's at the top of all of them.
I mean, obviously, from a truly commercial standpoint, he was more successful than Ray Charles in terms of
revenue or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, records sold and so on and so forth. Although Ray Charles, through his career, did put on roughly 10,000 concerts.
Jeez. Well, that's just how they did it back then. They just
they worked like crazy.
Yeah, they didn't stop.
Yeah.
But he was more, I guess, blues. What would his genre be?
Well, that's just it. He created soul. He created soul by combining gospel and R&B.
Yeah.
But then he would also do country stuff.
Yep.
I mean, that's how versatile he was. Again, I know that if we were to put this out with a popular vote, MJ would beat Ray Charles.
I agree.
He would. But from a musical standpoint, and I'm not talking about the dance moves, but if you're just listening to him, does he really do it for you? Or
a couple of his songs, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Same thing with old Ray, though. I mean, these two, especially for me, like you said, if we put it up 100 people to vote on it, Michael Jackson would probably take 80.
He would,
or 90.
I mean, certainly.
I don't know. Ray Charles. He like you said, it's soul. He hits you in the soul with his songs, and it's hard to put him at the top of your list.
He's actually referred to as the father of soul. So
I was going to ask because you got the king of pop.
Right?
Does Ray Charles have a title? And it is the father.
The father of soul. And it was again him blending the R&B and the gospel, and coming up with, and I mean that version of America the Beautiful that we just listened to had a lot of gospel in it.
Oh yeah,
and a lot of people criticized, saying that he messed with it too much.
Yeah, they did.
As a rule, I do not like someone messing with an original version of a great song. However,
he made it his own.
I think he got away with it. I think he pulled it off, and I think he pulled it off splendidly. And when I want to hear that song, that's the version I want to hear.
The first time I ever heard that song and heard anything of Ray Charles, the movie The Sandlot. Have you ever seen it?
I have, but it's been a long time.
When they're playing the night game, they're playing at night with all the fireworks going off.
And that
song is playing. And I remember, because just from how long I can remember, I've always listened to the music in movies and everything more than I pay attention to, what's going on.
Right.
And that song, man, I just zoned out during that part of the movie listening to that song. Just had to find, nowadays you can just Google search what song was playing during this scene, and it pop up.
Right.
Then I had to go on a search. Who was singing that? I was asking Mom. I don't know. It sounds like, and I just had to track it down.
Right.
Even at that age, I cared enough about that song to track down who the world sung that. It's pretty cool. And then when the movie came out, Ray, that was Jamie Foxx. That
Right.
was awesome.
It was.
Yeah, I think we talked about that movie.
We might
before.
have. Of course, Jamie Foxx won the Oscar for his portrayal
That's when we
of Ray
talked about it
Charles,
for the Oscar.
and
show.
deservedly so. Okay, so we're one carving into my mountain and one carving into your mountain. I've got Ray Charles. You've got Michael Jackson.
I got MJ breakdancing over there.
Who's your second?
Frank Sinatra.
Okay, Frank Sinatra. Well, you're going way back.
Oh yeah, I got some old guys on here
Okay,
on my list.
you've got old guys on your list, and I'm the old guy, and I've got. Okay, very cool. Frank Sinatra. So tell me why Frank makes your mountain.
Well, actually, the artist Michael Bublé is who I originally just loved. I downloaded all of his stuff and was reading a documentary or something on him before. Well, you don't read documentaries, do you?
I can't read.
I was watching a documentary on him, and he said how his roots, he fell in love with Frank Sinatra and his stuff. And I've always heard of Frank Sinatra, but I didn't realize it's just so old. That I wasn't around for when he was popular and everything. So went back and started listening, and man, he definitely deserves to be on this 4 in my book because
he does it for you.
Oh yeah.
So you got Michael Jackson and Frank Sinatra. I am going to now go with my number 2, and it is a fellow named Elvis Aaron Presley.
And I was going to put him as my 2, but you got to him before I could.
He's the king.
Yeah.
He's the king. I mean, hell, he makes more money dead. He's been dead for almost 40 years. And
I think that would be as far as modern, like who to question the top 2, MJ or Elvis, those 2 are neck and neck. Because rock and roll itself is the biggest music selling industry probably in the world. And, and he was the king of rock. So,
yeah.
That's so he's your number 2. And
He's definitely there, and I mean, in terms of commercial success, he's there. He was a great performer. He was a great singer. He was a great showman.
not a great actor.
Not a great actor. He was not a great actor, and so I guess they probably had him singing most of his parts. And I can I've never watched more than a few minutes of his movies. Yeah, it's not something.
Did
that
he duck
interests me.
No, he went to the war.
No, he went. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he went. I don't know that he saw action.
Yeah.
I didn't follow it that closely, but in fact, it may have been.
Actually, he wrote some stuff while he was there. What didn't he?
Did he write? I mean, he may have.
I tell you this. Not a lot of people know this, but Forrest Gump taught him how to dance.
He did. Yes, he did. Forrest Gump had his finger in a whole lot of different stuff.
Yeah, he did.
You've got Frank Sinatra and Michael Jackson on your Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, and my 3rd.
Okay.
This is why I asked you if I couldn't do a group or not, because it's Journey.
Really?
Yes, Journey. The reason is because go into any American bar that has a karaoke,
Okay.
and you will find Journey on there. Don't Stop Believin' will be at the top of that list every time. Even if it's a country bar, it's going to have Journey on there.
And some drunk is going to sing it that night.
Twice. Also, that's my dad listened to a lot of classic rock growing up, and that was one of the bands that showed up a lot. When you listen to classic rock, they're on that list every time.
So Journey is your 3rd member.
Yep.
Okay. My 3rd member, my 3rd face on my Mount Rushmore of American music is Berry Gordy Jr.
Who's that?
I knew you would ask who that was. I bet you couldn't.
That's sad. If you're top 4, I don't even know one of them.
That's okay. It's my top 4.
Okay, that's true.
My top 4. Berry Gordy Jr. is the founder of Motown Records.
So he invented Motown.
He founded Motown Records. He took $800 that he borrowed from his family and made the most successful record label in history.
So the Temptations, the Venturas,
Yeah,
all those kind of
Diana
groups.
Ross and the Supremes.
That's cheating though, because that's like saying
I didn't say they had to be a singers. It's,
I guess you're
of
right.
American music. And here's why I find him so influential. And mine was kind of influential. It wasn't just did they do their thing, and then once they were taken out, did the world kind of stay where it was, before? Did it, or did they leave a mark? And I think Ray Charles left a mark because he was the father of soul.
And that's kind of how I was coming at this. Like, what artists are way living past their death,
Elvis Presley left a mark. Berry Gordy left a mark, and here's why I say this. From 1961 to 1971, Motown had 110 top 10 hits in 10 years. 163 top 20 hits. 20 of those made it all the way to number one, and that's just in that 10-year period.
Surprised you didn't say like Chuck Berry, the inventor of rock and roll. You went with Motown.
I went with Motown, and again, because Berry Gordy set everything up, he controlled every aspect of what was going on.
But is Motown really still around, though? It's more...
They ended up getting bought out.
I mean, like the genre, the music type, is it still around?
Is it being performed now by new artists?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because rock is still around.
In different forms.
Rock is still around.
If you want to call what's on the current top 10 list rock, or the current top 40 list rock, then that's a different... For me, that's a different argument for a different time. But Berry Gordy, he had developmental classes, he did choreography teaching, he did record promotion, he was a booking agency.
I still think that's cheap.
He handled all of these aspects that helped make Motown bigger. Again, he turned this $800 into this thing
so
that
he
created.
Was the CEO of Motown.
Well, he was
Records,
he was the founder. He was the CEO. He was the brain trust of the whole thing. And I think that if it hadn't have been handled so carefully and so expertly, it wouldn't have been as big as what it was. And maybe the reason that we know about the Temptations and the Diana Rosses and the Smokey Robinson and the Miracles and Marvin Gaye and the Four Tops and all of these, they might have been traveling some circuit and we working some local stuff, and we never heard of him.
It happen.
And that's why he's on my mount.
Okay.
So
your 3 is a CEO.
My number 3 is Berry Gordy, and I stand by that with pride and conviction.
My number 4 is the guy who invented auto-tune.
I know better.
Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons.
Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. I like that choice.
Yeah, I was gonna go with Madonna, but it's personally Frankie Valli. Really like him way more than Madonna.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, all right, what music, who deserves to be on this mountain? And Madonna does, but not to me,
Right.
So
and it's your choice.
Exactly.
Right, it's your choice.
Definitely she'd be on someone else's. Just like,
yeah.
I think only CEO guys going to be on yours.
Probably so.
But Chuck Berry, like I said, I wrote him down when you said that. I was like, Chuck Berry's the guy who invented rock, so...
I like your 4th pick.
Yeah, Frankie Valli. Dude he's still performing, isn't he?
Sure.
I mean, he's
we'll
one of those
so.
other ones who did 5 gigs a night for 1,000 years. He's probably still gigging.
I like Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons.
Yeah.
I do.
So now it's just Frankie Valli,
right,
by himself.
Well, and that happened a lot. I mean, there was Diana Ross and the Supremes that just became, Diana Ross went her way. Lionel Richie split from the Commodores.
Yeah.
Smokey Robinson split from the Miracles. There's probably 100 other examples. My 4th face is actually a group, so there would be multiple faces, and it is the Eagles.
That's quite American.
It is, isn't it? It is. The Eagles, one of the world's best-selling bands of all times, selling more than 150 million records, 42 million for their greatest hits, and 32 million for Hotel California.
Wow. Which is also on every single karaoke bar you go into.
Yeah. This morning, in the wee morning, as I was greeting the sun coming up while I was typing all of this and working on this episode, I was listening to the Hotel California album, and it doesn't have a lot of songs on it, but they're all winners. And one of my favorites is a song I've never ever heard on the radio. It's a beautiful song with an environmental theme called "The Last Resort," and it is the last song on the Hotel California album. and it's a beautiful song. It really is. The Eagles they've won 6 Grammys spanning from 1975 to 2009. Even though they split up in 1980, Don Henley was quoted as saying he would perform with them when hell froze over. That's how much they hated being around each other. In 1994, they reunited for the Hell Freezes Over tour.
Yeah, I like how they did that.
Yeah. And I've actually seen them twice in person.
Really?
Yes, when I lived in Atlanta. Well, and I tell you what, here's another thing that I think warrants them being on the mountain, because they had great success, significant success as solo acts as well, and then came back together. And when you go see their concert, they will do songs from each one's solo career, as well as doing songs that they did as a group. It's about a 2 hour and 45-minute show.
Dang.
No intermission, no warm-up act. It's all Eagles, and it is all amazing. And actually, I have a friend who has tickets to a show later next month up in my hometown, and I'm going to try to make it, but I'm kind of thinking I may not be able to, and that kind of hurts. But anyway.
Maybe we could get an interview with them.
Yeah, for the show.
Yeah.
I'll just tell them I'm from the Boomer and X show, and I want 30 minutes of their time.
Or an hour, whichever.
Why not? Hey, if you're going to go...
Dream big.
Yeah, go big or go home, huh? So the Eagles. So
That's a good fourth.
I like it.
Actually, Frankie Valli, I had to double check if he was even American, because
New Jersey.
Yeah, I knew. Yeah, I knew
Yeah.
where he was from, but I didn't know he was born there. And I was like, man, John's gonna be like, no, he was born in Italy, dude, and ruin my number 4.
You got a Jersey thing going. You got 2 Jersey boys on your because Frank Sinatra was born in Hoboken, New Jersey.
I loved this segment where it's our top 4.
It's our top 4,
and at the same time, I was kind of conflicted. Like, that's not really a top 4 but it is to me.
It is to you,
because like if you pull up a top grossing list, if you pull up a top grossing, top 4 who made the most money as an artist,
right?
Probably Michael Jackson would be a top list. Maybe Elvis. I don't know, but definitely the 8 we named wouldn't be the top 8 on that
they
list,
wount
for sure. And that's not the criteria we
It's not.
used.
It's not at all. For me, for me, a lot of it was personal taste.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to go with someone that was either big and or influential, and I think those cover it. Let's hit. Well, first of all, I started to say I have no country representation, but Elvis,
Johnny Cash.
Elvis had a lot of crossover stuff.
Oh yeah, he was technically country.
Kind of. So I mean,
but
he
Johnny
was rock,
Cash,
rockabilly. Yeah. Johnny Cash
Hank
might
Williams
be on something. Hank Williams
would be at
senior.
Might be at the top of
Hank Williams Sr.
He might be at the number 4 top grossing, maybe.
If you were going to hold a gun to my head and make me put a country, it would either be Hank Williams Sr. or Willie Nelson.
I think Johnny Cash is bigger than Willie Nelson.
I like Willie better.
I like Willie better also. Johnny Cash is too depressing.
I just like,
especially when his older days.
And Willie's been doing it,
Still.
for 843 years.
That's a fact.
Madonna, Miles Davis, Bob Dylan, Bill Haley and the Comets might be on
Led Zeppelin.
No, American.
Okay, Queen.
Jesus.
The Beatles.
Go ahead and say the Rolling Stones too.
Okay.
And you know what?
Rolling
AC/DC.
Stone, AC/DC.
Yeah, get us some Australia in there. Simon and Garfunkel is kind of a tough one for me to leave off.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great musical act, and they had a lot of big hits, and I enjoy listening to them. But anyway, that's my 4. That's your 4. I'm sure our listeners would have their own 4.
Yeah, they're like, what? No way, you left out Beyonce?
Oh, Jesus. Then let us
We didn't have
know.
any pop other than Michael Jackson.
And I'll sleep well.
They got their representation.
I'll sleep well with that. I really will. It won't bother me a bit. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, and then we will come back and wrap everything up.
What is up, guys? guys? I am John from Bushy Gaming, and you are listening to the Boomer and X Show. I want to encourage all you guys to head over to my gaming channel on YouTube. It's Bushy Gaming for all the latest Call of Duty news as well as some epic gameplays. Also, in the very near future, I will be uploading content of other games as well, so you guys be on the lookout for that. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter at ZBushy. That's capital Z, capital B-U-S-H-I-E. You guys can also find me as John Busher on Facebook. I appreciate all the support, guys, and don't forget while you're at my channel to hit the like button as well as give me a subscription. Peace out.
All right, so something we didn't hit right out of the gate, and I wish we would have. Guess what, John?
We have a website now.
Well, that's a good guess.
That is a good guess, isn't it?
And it's real simple, theboomerandxshow.com.
Right.
No some weird symbols, just theboomerandxshow.com.
Right, and we want to thank Janice for getting that up and running for us. Janice, we appreciate it. There's a contact page on the website. There's an About Us page.
I tested it out. It works.
And did you write to us?
I said, was I?
Did we answer yet?
No, I didn't email me
we've
back
got
yet.
We've got to get better about that.
Oh, sorry.
So, yeah, anyway, theboomerandxshow.com is our website, and it's there, and it's nice, and it's neat, and it's not too elaborate right now, but we'll be adding some stuff, and we're also going to be adding some links, and you'll be able to link our
Facebook page. And there's already a Twitter banner there, so also go check us out on the Twitter, at boomerandxshow. And, man, I guess we're closing out. What you think? Sound good?
So, yeah, that's a wrap for this one. Again, thanks for joining us and for this episode. And sorry for the huge delay between episodes or the huge gap between them, but sometimes things just happen.
That's life.
That's life. We'll be back as soon as we can with the next one. And take care. We'll see you next time.
All right, see y'all.